They're different things, aren't they? I mean, serving a country in a battlefield is different to trying to get your own way in Whitehall. I mean,
Chris, look, I mean, the truth is they're going to have to own the record that they've earned.
We'll ask them about that. Okay.
And they're going to have to stand on their record. Okay. I'll stand on mine. Mine is 2 years keeping this country safe, introducing the National Security Act, arresting and charging more Russian and Chinese agents than the previous decade, and reforming areas of our intelligence and security services that I'm afraid I'm never going to tell you about.
On your record, though, you supported a manifesto that promised to cut net migration in 2015, 17, 19, 2024. What did you do to try and control migration? That was a massive promise issue which your party failed on.
So the reforms that I was making before we were somewhat rudely interrupted by the election was to bring together the intelligence networks that we could share publicly with other countries. Now that's slightly limited, but there are various areas that we could work together, and that I was working together with countries in around the world, and forgive me, I won't tell you where.
Illegal migration.
That's on illegal migration.
The big number is net migration.
The big number is net migration, and this is where we need to, Secretaries of State need to own their record. I got deeply frustrated with this pledge that you and I constantly heard, and I made because I meant it, of up to 100,000, and I've repeated, and then hear Secretaries of State going, yeah, I get that, but my department's an exception. My department's different. My department's not the same as the others. Oh, no, I get the cap, but not for me. Well, I'm afraid that's not how government works. You've got to actually mean it. And I'm afraid when Secretaries of State say, oh, yeah, but trade will suffer, but health will suffer, but foreign relations will suffer, but I won't get the builders into housing, well, that's not the answer. The answer's got to be that you've got to have a really serious grip of the economy and think about how the British system works. You've got to train people, you've got to inspire apprenticeships, you've got to put the cap on the degrees, not on the apprenticeships. You've got to make sure what you're actually doing is you're helping people to fill those spaces. That's what we need to do, that's my commitment, and that's what I'll be delivering as leader of the Conservative Party.
So you won't set a cap?
Chris, I have set a cap. But I'm going to set a legal cap at 100,000, and the reason I'm going to set it is to make sure I focus the minds not just of businesses who are going to need to change the way that they hire and train, but also to focus the mind of government, because let's be absolutely clear. The government itself has been employing many, many, many people who should have been trained at home. Now, I don't want to say anything ill about nurses who come from abroad. They're fantastic people, they're wonderful people, and we are honoured and privileged to have them with us. But the truth is we should be training our own nurses. We should be making sure... It
takes 6 years, it takes 7 years to train them.
So first of all, it takes time to train them. You've got to start now. When was the best time to plant a tree, Chris? It was 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. We need to start training nurses today. And that means we need to stop making nurses, force them down the degree route and inspire them down the apprenticeship route so that we can share. Is it right, Chris, that a nurse leaves a university with less experience, not her fault, but less experience hands-on in a hospital and a huge debt, when she could leave an apprenticeship with more hands-on experience and no debt? Isn't that the right answer?
Were you on tax? Are you comfortable with record tax levels since the Second World War?
Hey, look, I'm the one who didn't support the last tax rises, so no, I'm not. We need to bring taxes down, and let's be clear.
What would you cut with taxes?
Let me be clear about tax. Tax is not... Raising and lowering tax is not an ideological point. We don't do it because we worship high or low taxes. It's because we believe in freedom. The reason we think taxes should be lower is because we think individuals are better when they are freer, when they're able to make the decisions over their own lives, when they're able to put their effort and their energy into the projects, into the when nobody else would, to stand with Ukraine. That's heroism. He didn't do it alone. Ben Wallace was absolutely with him, and the two of them, I think we should all be deeply proud of both of them. But the second thing Boris did that I'm really impressed with, in that chaos of those first few weeks of COVID, when many people were running around like headless chickens, not quite knowing which way to go and what to do, Boris got together a task force led by somebody from the private sector, putting them in charge of civil servants, and delivered the fastest vaccine rollout in the world. That is impressive.
Would you allow him back in your government if you're your party, as a candidate in a by-election? I mean,
I've got to be honest, I'm not going to choose candidates for associations. It's something I think is deeply wrong. What I'm going to do is make sure you can choose your own candidates early.
And that includes Boris.
If Boris wants to stand and you want to select him, over to you.
Which Labour policy would you back?
Well, if they're honest about it, if they're actually honest about it, then some of the planning reform they're talking about is interesting. Now, let's be honest.
The Green Belt, is that the principle?
And that's where the leadership that I'm offering is already, you can see it, is inspiring young people to come out and support me, and I'm very, very proud to have many of their support. And I'm very, very proud that many people have reached out, and in fact, I believe there was a poll by Savanta today saying I'm the person who's most likely to attract people back to voting Conservative if they're under, I think it was 35 was the age cutoff. Now look, this is really important, because this isn't actually about young versus old. That's how some people pitch it. I know you don't, Chris, but some people do. This is about bringing our country together, because, let's be honest, unionism isn't just about geography. It's not just about tying Edinburgh to London or making sure that Glasgow can work with Carlisle. It's about tying generations together, bringing this country together so that the energy and drive of the young is tied with the experience and assets of the old, and we actually get growth in this country. That's what makes us a country, that's what makes us a family, and that's why Conservative policies are the natural policies of this country.
How do you get the voice of these people heard more at the top level of the party? Do you want an elected chairman?
Well, this is really interesting. So I don't know how many of you have completed my survey who are in this room, but if you haven't, it's still live, and I would love to hear from you. We've already had several thousand, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but 1 or 2 people from CCHQ have also completed it. So there's maybe a few inside gags there too. But look, I want to hear from you, but I want to make sure that we have all the voices of the Conservative Party represented inside the Conservative Party. So what do I want to see? I want to see proud of equal marriage. I'm really... And let me be clear, for those of you who don't know, I'm a practicing Roman Catholic. My religion defines me, it demands things of me. It doesn't demand anything at all of you. You're free to do whatever you want. But the same equality, the same freedom I ask for my own beliefs, I must give to yours. And I must respect them too.
We're running out of time on my questions, so I'll do some quick ones. Yes or no. ECHR withdrawal, are you in favour?
Opt out of the bits you can, reform the bits that aren't working, and if that doesn't work, be prepared to leave, yes.
Will you restore the winter fuel payment?
I would make sure that pensioners have dignity in old age. At the moment, I would never scrap it, but we need to make sure that in 4 years' time we're ready to treat pensioners with the dignity they deserve.
What does that mean? You restore it, you don't know.
I'm not going to be writing a budget for 4 years' time, I'm really sorry.
You sound like all the rest of them now, Tom.
Well, it's honest. If you want me to give you a glib answer and be dishonest with you, that's not what our members expect. Our members expect, quite rightly, the honesty of knowing that they can trust what I say. I'm going to offer you the leadership that is honest. And the honest leadership is I can't write a budget today for 4 years' time.
Would you scrap Labour's ban on new grammar schools?
Yes.